Hi, my name is Christina Liu, and I'll be giving an overview of Epsilon3's test management module. The general workflow is that you start by defining your requirements. Then you will define conditions and risks that will be used to create test cases. Once the appropriate test cases have been created, those will be added to test plans, which is just a special type of procedure, and then those test plans will be run. You can also combine parts of test plans into a test sequence and run the test cases that way. Once the test cases have been run through a plan or a sequence, then you come back to the requirements page and you can see the status here, say skipped, completed, not started, or failed. And we are planning to add a full history in the next week or so. So that will be available as well. And this is where you can really see what is the progress being made towards my requirements. Another option that's available for requirements is links, which define the relationships between requirements, since their hierarchy, ordering, grouping matters for requirements. And you can also order requirements by dragging and dropping on the list of them themselves, filter by priority and type, and add test cases to requirements as well. Once requirements have been defined, you'll want to create test cases by defining conditions and risks. Conditions are simple, something like altitude, airspeed, fuel flow, or weight. They're just a name, description, and units like you see here. And then to create a test case, you also need to define risks. These are have more field options. Test cases are automatically added once a risk is added to a test case. You can define mitigation and minimizing procedures, as well as look at the risk analysis. So how severe or how likely is this risk to happen? And add notes as well. Through the settings page, we allow the user to define custom details for risk types, and then those can easily be added to the risk when you're editing or creating a new risk. After conditions and risks have been defined, then you will have the option to create test cases. These are a specific value for each condition, for example, the height in the altitude in feet or the weight in pounds, and as well as any risks. The risk field is optional, and you can really easily select these and change the values through our UI, as you can see here. Once test cases have been created, you'll want to create a test plan. This is where we actually run the test cases from. We have all the fields that a regular procedure has, but there's also this special content block that allows the user to add test cases in table groups, and they can also be added on different steps, but there's still all of the procedure fields are available, such as telemetry, or you can see here multiple choice to select the runway conditions, and you can also have non-test case steps and sections, for example, the post-test inspection here. When you run the procedure, you'll be given the option to check when you are on condition for the test. And once this is done, when the step has been signed off, you'll be able to see the timestamp at which this happened in order to track it to the exact time when you're on condition, and then be able to review that against different telemetry data later. And you will also be able to, whenever you release a test plan, these test case blocks will be saved together and used to form snippets. If you're familiar already with the Epsilon3 system, the snippets allow for reusing parts of a procedure. However, here it's special in the sense that these snippets can be easily reordered and added. So that's what's special about a sequence. You can easily reorder and add snippets, and then their order and addition will be reflected here below, and then you can run this as a regular procedure. This is useful if you define a test plan, for example, for a landing gear, but you're not able to run all of the tests at once because you only land once during a particular flight test. So that's an example of how you might pull different parts of different test plans into a sequence, so you're running them in an order that makes sense. And once you've run them, then you'll come back to the requirements page and check the status and the history, and see what progress you've been able to make towards your requirements.